From One of One Production Studio, located in Fort Lee, New Jersey, this is The Art of Music Tech. And now, here's your host, Fela and Dennis.
Let's go, and welcome to the Art of Music Tech podcast. I'm your host, Fela, and over there is my co-host, Dennis.
Hey, guys.
All right, we're coming to you from the One of One Production Studios in Fort Lee, New Jersey. And today, we're going to talk about the Focusrite Vocaster. You're hearing this currently through the Vocaster Two, two-person, and then there's also the Vocaster One, which you'll actually hear in this podcast a little later on with a good friend of ours, Chris, that we met at Podcast Movement a few years ago, and he actually ended up winning the Vocaster One from us at Podcast Movement this year in Dallas. So always cool to see our friends and hearing them through the latest technology and podcasting. So let's hop into it.
Yes, what a great box. What do you think about technology itself?
Fantastic. I love the Vocaster because it's based on content creation and not just for music, which is where we came from and how we began dealing with Vocaster. Well, Focusrite. It was in dealing with music stuff, but they really turned it on with the Vocaster and aiming towards us now content creators. With this being the Vocaster 2, that means that two people can be connected to it, like me and you are as we speak.
Yeah.
It's a very small footprint.
It's like size of a 2i2 maybe, right?
Yeah. But
a little slicker though.
Yeah, a lot slicker. It has three big knobs like on the top of it. One big one in the middle and then two smaller ones on the sides. The two smaller knobs on the sides are for headphones. So
which I have a pair that comes with the Focusrite Vocaster pack.
Yeah, so that's the really cool part with the 2i2. You had to end up buying either like a headphone amp to expand it to 4 and all that sort of thing. So having two controllable headphone outputs is just a game changer, especially for like streaming and if you're doing Twitch or anything like that, going live. Being able to control your headphones without having to deal with, whoever else, the guest. Everybody has their separate thing going on. So that's really cool. The big knob in the middle is the gain knob. And you just choose either guest or host instead of it saying like, I guess,
input 1 and 2.
Input 1 and 2. It says guest and host. Again, really diving into it being a content creation tool, speaking our language, guest and host, and that's how you control the gain for the guest and host inputs. It also has like a cool effect knob, which you have 4, not knob, but actual buttons. Now we're going to get into like, what is this? 6 buttons on the front of the Vocaster. A mute button.
Which is very helpful.
Holy cow. Yes, a mute button for both the guest and the host. And then there's also an option for an effect on the guest and the host. You can choose that as well, which the effects that are built in are...
They're going to be warm, bright, and I think natural, and radio.
Yes.
And you choose them using software, Vocaster Hub. So once you connect the unit, it'll walk you through all the steps. You install the software, and then you can control everything that you need to control. Mute, gain, Bluetooth, which I'm going to play a quick sample using Bluetooth going into Logic, which is pretty cool. I think you can. I'm going to play a song, but you can use effects, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
From your phone or iPad or whatever Bluetooth device you have. And I think for so long, we've been using 2i2 to record on the go.
Yeah.
But it was limited. Again, no one headphone out and, no flexibility. But now with Vocaster, they give you auto gain, these presets.
Yeah.
Which we're not using preset at the moment because... And Feli's using the mic that actually comes with Vocaster Studio.
Yeah, and just to give you a heads up on that, we're talking about the Vocaster, which is the interface, but Focusrite also has like a bundle deal, which they're calling the Vocaster Studio. With the Vocaster Studio, as we mentioned earlier, it comes with a mic. We got the Vocaster Two, so they have like an upgraded dynamic mic. And then with the One, it's a mic as well, but it's more of a handheld style dynamic microphone with the One Vocaster Studio.
And you'll get to hear it throughout the interview with Chris because that's what he
used for his interview. And then we also got a pair of headphones, which Dennis just showing us. And only thing you really need, it also comes with an XLR. Only thing you really need is a microphone stand with the Vocaster Studio. So they really set you up well. If you get the Vocaster Studio 2, though, you will still need to purchase another pair of headphones and a microphone. To complete the complete package.
Which I'm sure you hear the difference between condenser microphone and dynamic.
Yeah.
And you guys choose what works for you best.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a dynamic mic. Dennis's isn't, but we're not using phantom power. It's a tube microphone that he's using. So it's actually built into the box, the power box for it. But the Vocaster does have phantom power for both the guest and the host input separately, so you don't have to hit both microphones with phantom power if they don't need it, which for us is really cool as audio engineers to know that you're not hitting your microphone with unneeded power. And the other cool thing, like you were saying, Bluetooth. Okay, well, I'm gonna pull up the song. I pre-gamed the song on my phone already, so let's just. And you can mute Bluetooth through the software, right? So if you don't need anything in your Logic session, which what we're using today, you mute within the software. Let me pull up the song. So this is the song. You guys. I don't think it's distorting. It's just giving you the level that actually comes from this master track. Yeah, it didn't sound like it was distorting when I did sound check. So yeah. So it'll probably so in post, because it's going to Logic. So let's get into that.
Yes.
Get into the technical part of that.
Yeah. So before recording, right? You need to get a call sheet, which we got from Focusrite. And there are 14 inputs. When you connect the interface, when you connect 2i2, it will give you input 1 and 2, and that's it. With Vocaster, they'll give you 14 different inputs. So 1 and 2 will be a video call left, right. 3, 4 is going to be show mix. 5 and 6 is going to be your main input for guest and host. So to record this interview, I go into Logic and I choose input 5 and 6. So we get individual channels for that, right? 7 and 8 is going to be your aux left, right. Then 9 and 10 I'm using for Bluetooth left and right.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't play a stereo track, you can probably use it just left,
Mm-hmm.
right? If it's just a sound effect.
Yeah.
And 11, 12 loop back 1 left right, and 13, 14 is loop back 2 left right. So there are so many things you can, I guess, insert, connect to this device.
Yeah, whether it's through eighth inch, there's
Eighth
an
inch.
eighth inch in and out, rather.
Yeah, the 8th inch, yeah, you can go straight to the camera,
Uh-huh.
DSLR.
Yeah, so you get the full on everything that's going on into another recorder, so you can do a backup.
You can do a backup as well, yes.
Or just make that the main recording and then hook up the power. There is a power button
There is power
to
button.
this, and unlike the 2i2, it's just as soon as it hits the USB power, it's on. That's it.
Yes.
This, you get a choice with it,
And you can use a power block
and
too.
you can. That's what I was getting to. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
use a power block. Perfect. Yeah, so you can be on the go. Right?
Yeah, on the go, straight into the camera. So if you do like field recording, or you need great audio, but there's no power source, like there's no wall plug or
Yeah.
a laptop,
Yeah.
for
Exactly.
example. So yeah, use the power block. And yeah, more I use it, I guess more I
Learn about it.
learn
Yeah.
about it. And
Yeah.
so many great things is just applying, all those things within the production we do. For the most part, we use 2i2 on the go to record like 2 people interview,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we didn't need anything.
Mm-hmm.
But now this gives us a lot more. And auto gain too. I think if you're a newbie and you don't know how to use gain properly,
Mm-hmm.
just open the software, click auto gain, and talk for 10 seconds, and it'll
Set it for you.
set it for you. So
Yeah.
there's no distortion or.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for novice and pros. That's the cool thing. You can continue to grow with this piece of equipment, with whether you just started or you've been doing it 20 years. And
Yep.
yeah, you have all of those different inputs, which is so crazy, between loop backs and the Bluetooth, and just like, wow.
And you can put it back into your Logic, so you can actually record a multi-track with it.
Yeah, everything
is-
that you had going on. Exactly. So,
This is incredible. It sounds great. I think it sounds better than 2i2.
the current, yeah.
It'll cost you a little bit more than 2i2,
Mm-hmm.
but what you get for the price, you get a lot more value and flexibility
Yeah.
than 2i2.
And you could truly treat it like a studio as well, because you have 1/4-inch outs to go
For the
into your
speakers.
monitors. Yeah, it's just a flexible little box. And again, a little box compared to some other podcast mixers that are pretty large and have faders. That's great as well. If you want to be very tactile to get to certain things, because we get that as well. But as far as like the sound quality,
Yeah, I
you're
have to
not
say-
gonna get that from those boxes
Yeah,
that you're gonna get
Focusrite
out of
really-
this very small box, but mighty. The other great thing is that there's 70 dB of gain, so no cloud lifters needed.
Yeah, for especially what you're using.
Yeah, exactly. Normally, you would need, for this style of microphone, you would need a cloud lifter.
How much is it? Like another $100, maybe? right?
Yeah, like 60, 100
Yeah.
bucks, something
So,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah. So,
Get the
yeah,
Vocaster.
not having to buy that, and not having to buy a cloud lifter, and not having to buy
Headphone
a
amp?
headphone amp. It's just like all these things that are just so cool to just have it all in one, and making it a truly mobile and still tactile, but it has some software features. But you can still get this going without even doing the software. So yeah, I'm really they're really feeling this piece of gear, and I'm happy that so many companies, including Focusrite, finally paying attention to this market, and it's super exciting.
Yeah, from the first time we saw it, maybe year and a half ago,
Yeah.
from developing to actually putting this product on the market, and hearing, the audio quality is, I think, is the main,
Yes.
not a concern, but when you use different units, the audio quality is really important for us, because we concentrate on not only being, convenient with kits we sell, but also putting a great cable, great microphone, and a great interface, so it sounds great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They Focusrite really did their thing with this. It's so. Oh yeah, and with the 1/8 inch out, you can go out directly 1/8 inch into a DSLR camera. It's just so many great ways that you can just
Utilize it,
whether you have a laptop or you don't, or you have a recorder, or it's a great flexible piece of equipment for content creation, and I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to Focusrite, and this is always fun to get to test out their latest stuff. So
yep, thank you, Focusrite.
Yeah.
Thanks Dan Hughley for
yeah,
helping us out with,
getting the finer points of the
Yes.
box, and really giving us even more great in-depth information about it. So you're in the market for something like this. You're not sure what to get. You're just starting your podcast or Twitch or whatever content creation thing you have going on. Man, this Vocaster will definitely get you there, sounding professional, and just the way to go. Anything else you want to say about it, Dennis?
No, I think we're gonna transition to the interview with Chris.
Yeah.
And you'll get to hear his thoughts on the box.
Exactly. So this is going to be very cool to be able to hear the Vocaster Two and the Vocaster One at the same time. So hang in there and check out this next segment. Let's go, and welcome to the Art of Music Tech podcast. And today we're featuring Chris Cheine, a good friend of ours that we met a couple years ago at the first podcast movement that we went to in Nashville. And then we saw him again this year. And funny enough, he actually won our drawing for the latest Focusrite Vocaster One. And actually, we're on the Vocaster Two right now, the 2-person, and he's on the 1. So, this is a nice Focusrite driven podcast interview. And we're going to get into how Chris is using it and how we're using it, and, and what Chris is into in podcasting. So, Chris, go ahead and tell us a little about yourself.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. And thank you for, I guess, letting me win the drawing, or letting me know that I won the drawing. I was pretty pumped because I never win anything that I actually like. And this might've been the first really cool thing that I like that I've won. I normally win, like, if my wife is in like a drawing for makeup or something, they'll be like, Chris Cheine, you won. And I'm like, oh, great, here you go. Give it to my wife. So yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. But I'm Chris. I have a podcast and a podcast studio down here in Southwest Florida, in kind of Fort Myers, Bonita Springs area. And so we produce podcasts for businesses, mostly video podcasts. And then I also host the Southwest Florida Business Podcast. And I actually interview local business owners and then help them turn that into video content and then promote their business here locally. So that's the main gist.
All right. Nice.
Nice.
How you only have like one interviewer at a time, or like, how do you usually?
Yeah, usually I do those I do in person. So I'll do them in
Uh-huh.
studio, filming it. That way we can get them, professional quality content to help them market their business and everything.
Nice.
So that one's primarily in person. Yep.
All right. Good stuff. So, since you've gotten the Vocaster, how do you like it right out of the box? How do you feel about it?
This thing's sweet. So like it was pretty easy to set up. And then one thing that was really cool that I didn't realize that I even won was this microphone and then some headphones as well
No.
as the Vocaster. And like we were saying before, this thing's pretty dense. Like this feels like a really solid, like professional quality mic. Like for
Right.
back when I was performing on stage, and it almost feels like some of those kind of heavy duty ones. So that was pretty sweet. That was a nice little surprise today.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like, it's straightforward, and it's about like a quarter of the footprint of the other interface that I was using before this. So I literally plugged it in and it started working. Oh, and one other thing I will say about it that was actually pretty impressive. I plugged it in, I turned Spotify on just to stream some music, like test it out. And I was like, damn, this sounds really good quality. Like it was coming through clearly.
Sure
so,
is.
So good job to whoever the Black Keys mixing engineer is. Did a good job, and yeah.
And the Focusrite who added that in the Bluetooth, so you can attach your phone to the interface via Bluetooth or via 1/8 inch cable. Yeah, it's a really cool situation that you can really cultivate a whole show with this small box.
Yeah.
Instead of having, from other manufacturers, we've seen like the bigger mixer. This gives you a more compact and really diverse situation to do any kind of show you want.
I'm excited for this camera feature too. It's just
Oh,
something I
yeah.
noticed today was this this camera output with the TRS or the TRRS. I forget.
1/8 inch.
More the smaller 1/8 inch.
Yeah.
1/8 inch.
Yeah, so you can go straight into your DSLR camera with the audio. So there's no, I gotta fix it in post or batch it up later. Yeah, that's great to get that great sound out of the Vocaster straight into your computer. Game changer.
I'm excited for it too, especially on the camera stuff, because part of the way that I run some of my marketing is I'll actually set up a camera in the studio and I hook up my podcast professional mics, and I have that run the sound into the camera. So that way, when I'm promoting my business, I'll actually have the good quality microphones going into the audio. Then really for like Instagram videos or LinkedIn videos, you don't really need to clean up the audio basically in any way. It sounds really good out of one of those mics anyway. So it just puts it in. And plus you have, when you're marketing your business and you have a podcast microphone and everything right there, it just adds to that like professional quality. And people now reach out to me like, hey, what are you doing? How are you using this? What is your business? Like, tell me more about it. And
exactly.
Yeah, I think this is going to make that process a lot easier.
Yeah. And the cool thing, you can power up the device from those external batteries. You don't have to connect it to the computer necessarily.
Yeah.
So if you have a USB block, you
charging.
You can take it with you on the go and like a backpack. Yeah, that's a cool feature too. So what you do with that 1/8 inch into the camera, you don't have to connect the interface into your computer per se.
Oh, okay. So you can literally take this thing with a block and go out. Like you could even do like kind of field recordings with this thing almost if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's the feature. I've learned that from Dan Hughley, who actually
head of marketing.
Yeah, made it happen. He gave us Vocaster One that you have right now, and he gave us Vocaster Two, so we can use at our studio. And we're doing the interview right now. So
yeah, I'm using the headphones and the microphone from the the Vocaster Two. And yeah, they said they feel great. I gotta say the headphones, they're nice and snug over the ear. Yeah, but it sounds good, and it
Mm-hmm.
feels right as well.
A lot of great features within the software, the podcast, a Vocaster hub.
Mhm.
It has like 4 different presets for your microphone. So when you install the software, it'll give you, I think, clean, warm, bright, and there's something else I
Think
forgot.
like broadcast.
Broad or
Yeah, like
radio maybe.
yeah, like
Yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
radio
yeah.
setting. Yeah, that's like super compressed and yeah, what
A
we're
nice,
used to hearing.
yeah,
You know.
nice preset that you can just dial in and go straight. I don't know. Do you do like Zoom interviews often?
I'm gonna start doing. That's why I'm looking forward to using this again because I used to do a lot more of them because I have a personal podcast as well, but I put that on the back burner as I was growing my business, getting this stuff started. I was like, all right, everything's taking me so much time. I need to just
Yeah.
focus on what's going to make me money now as I grow this. So I'm excited to use this as I relaunch that. That'll probably start in January, but yeah, this is going to simplify all of that stuff, especially if I can link this right into the camera. I can probably avoid 2 other pieces of equipment that I'm using right now to set
Right.
up where I have the camera plus the microphones and everything like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm pretty pumped for this thing. Thank you guys.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hey, and you sound great too on our end. Yeah, your
Yeah.
microphone
Sweet.
sounds.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think maybe I think now that people can hear what I'm saying, it might actually be more of a problem. So people might actually call you to complain that like, oh, I can now understand what Chris is saying. Why would you send this kit to him? This is a horrible mistake. But like, so actually I'm curious, can I ask you guys, like, how do you guys use like this kind of stuff in your workflow? Like what are some of the ways that you've incorporated this stuff?
Yeah, for the mobile stuff for the
Yeah.
Vocaster, we have a lot of mobile clients or clients that will go to their space and do a podcast and they have a guest. And this is definitely something we'll be using because we use stuff like this, like StreamYard and stuff. So we're kind of producing and kind of afar sometimes.
Well,
And so, yeah, we get to hear.
in comparison to what we have 2i2, right? We have Vocaster now, and we have Focusrite Claret Plus 2 channel,
Mhm.
right? So this sounds great. I would say this sounds better than 2i2 with more features too. So
Yeah.
definitely taking this on the road, it's an upgrade because we used to take 2i2 because we didn't
Mhm.
have Claret Plus. Claret Plus sounds great because it's more like a professional grade 2 channel interface, but this has
Yeah.
more features and actually sounds amazing out of the box. You don't have to, do
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stuff that, yeah, like you even said that we don't have to pack anymore. Like now there are 2 headphone outs
Yeah,
on
exactly.
this unit.
You don't need extra headphone
So
amp.
I don't need to bring a headphone amp and the power to it, and then the
Oh.
extra cable to turn it into the 4 channel.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's a lot more stuff that you have to bring on these mobile recordings, and that's what we're loving about it. And yeah, even we're engineers by trade, so we're good with like setting gains ourselves too. But it's pretty cool for like newcomers that don't know how to set gain.
Yeah, auto
They
gain.
have an auto gain function on this as well. So I mean, it's just so many things that help new people to the industry, and then people that's seasoned to what's going on, and the flexibility, like you said, for any business that uses this sort of thing for their podcasts, and us as a business using it for other businesses. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
imagine too, if you wanted to send this out, like if you had a customer that you normally go out to, but then they're like, hey, either the timing's not going to work, I got to do this later than you guys can do it. Just wouldn't work for you to be there in person. I mean, this is a pretty easy thing that you could either tell them to buy it or ship one out and say,
Yeah.
hey, just, if it makes sense for you, just like, hey, just keep this thing and we'll bake it into the monthly cost kind of thing.
Hey, glad you said that because we sell these. So
okay, cool.
So yeah, that's exactly what we do. This is, we're definitely gonna be pushing this more so. I mean, because this works for what we do exactly, because it's made for podcasters. And
Yeah,
we
content creation.
began, selling our kits, about almost 2 years ago now. But yeah, this makes sense now to send this out more so than a 2i2, because that's more of a music based situation for how you're tracking and stuff like this. This makes more sense to somebody that's just new to what's going on. It's just like, oh, okay, so I can control my headphone volume. Like, you see all the buttons that does everything that you need it to do. So I love how it's just so intuitive.
And there's mute button too on the device, so
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, you can mute yourself.
Yeah,
you,
with
you
the
don't have to
2i2,
go.
you can't. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was just like turn the gain all the way down, and you got to guess it where your gain was. So
And you have that moment where I've had multiple people using like the 2i2s and stuff and be like, oh yeah, I just waited till like the lines turn red when I'm talking, and that's how I know that it's working. And I'm like, oh, you probably just want to turn it down just a little bit.
exactly.
Like, oh, why? Otherwise, it's not on, right? Like,
yeah.
You're close. You're close. You're getting close.
Exactly.
But this is I'm pretty pumped for this. I'll actually ask you guys after the fact to send me the link for the kit, because I've been talking to, just by nature of doing what I'm doing and putting out this marketing content, I got a lot of people reaching out to me like, hey, how do I start a podcast? What do I do? How do I set this up? What's the equipment? And so now I would actually like to get your kit so that way I can point them to this, because
definitely,
like part of what I run into from my side of doing this, and I'm sure you guys run into some version of this, is that I think when people think of podcasts, they think of that this should be like cheap or free, or they want you to do this for them. Like, hey, can I give you $20 and you can spend 15 hours to make this happen for me? It's like, no, but from my side, I'm like, I'm more than happy to talk through the strategy of what you guys should do, who you should talk to, why, how that can help your business, and then give them basics on some of the tech, and then some of the like distribution channels. Like, guys, this is it's not as complicated as it maybe used to be. Like, you can upload something to, Captivate or Buzzsprout, any of these distribution things, and then it goes to Apple, Spotify. It's really easy once you set it up, and that seems to give people like a breath of fresh air. But this is a pretty cool kit, because it's just like, instead of saying, hey, you should get this microphone and you should get these headphones and this interface. And it's just,
true.
Hey, get this, buy a stand for the microphone and plug in and start interviewing people. And then after you do 20 interviews, then you can realize what goes into it. And then you'll start to even remotely know what your show is going to be after you get started. Like, so
right.
I don't know. How do you guys like guide people through that? I know this isn't really like tech talk, but how do you guys guide people through like that initial phase of getting started with a podcast? Like, have you guys taken on somewhat of like an advisory role for some of the people, or do the people you work with just like they know exactly what they want to do? What's it like for you guys?
Yeah, they tend to know. They have the content. They just don't know how to put it together. So we help you kind of produce in that way of like the structure. I really make them think about, how do you want to do this? Do you have any segments you want to do? Are there certain things you want to do with every episode? So we're more on that, of just like the clarity of the content that you want to put out there. Does it make sense? And then we're going to put it in this time frame too, and technically how are we going to get it into that time frame? So we're just kind of technical advisors on how to get that content to your audience in the chosen way that they want to do it, whether it's 20-minute shows or hour-long shows or whatever. So that's kind of our bread and butter with this sort of thing, is that. And mostly they're freaked out about the tech. They're like, where do I go? How does this where do you put this at? Like, yeah, so we guide you with that. Like, yeah, the content is always the easiest thing. Because there's usually experts, they're doctors or lawyers or they're owners of the business. So they know their business inside and out. And it's just trying to figure out the best way to deliver said content. And making it look and sound slick is a is a
that's
whole
a big part
nother.
of it.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
But I
part.
guess with independent versus like iHeartRadio or the bigger companies, it's easier with iHeartRadio because they always would send the producer and the talent, and they know what they need,
Mhm.
and all we provide is a microphone, and we record and
In
send,
space,
yeah,
like
in the
a
space,
comfortable space,
yeah,
the broadcast quality
yeah,
equipment,
and then we send out the files via whatever cloud, whatever Dropbox, or we transfer whatever you use. But with independent is a little bit different because they need more like
yeah,
help. You got to
that's
hold
the
their hand.
guidance
Yeah,
and
you
a
hold
little
their
more.
hand throughout the process. And
Okay. Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thanks.
a lot
Yeah, I
of
was
people,
curious.
a lot of people get scared when they like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable in front of the camera and stuff like that. So you have to help them out. Versus we had Ice-T a month ago, so he just comes in, he knows what he needs to do, he reads his thing, and he goes home
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he's been doing it for
Decades.
decades.
Yeah, he doesn't have to get in the moment about it. He's like, all right, what's the what's the copy? Okay, moving on.
Yeah, and even I remember producer was asking if he wants to take a break for lunch. I was like, no, we keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
just that's gotta be cool to work with somebody like that who's just like a kind of like an industry veteran who's just like, no, I'm just here to get the job done. Like, let's keep
Yeah.
going. You want to
And
go
yeah.
get lunch? You can go get lunch. I want
Exactly.
to go home. Like,
Exactly. He got a wife, kids. He was like, I don't want to be here for 10 hours. Give me 4 or 5 hours, solid 5 hours.
mhm.
I do my thing and I go home.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
the difference between I guess a friends cast thing and kind of like a straight up business. We got a contract, and the quicker I'm done, the quicker I can move on my other part of my life.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm hoping that this makes me thing. It's
Mhm.
this is a contract. I'm doing it and keeping it moving. So
Yeah. I mean, that's how this business podcast came about, was just
Mhm.
because it's like part of what I do when I interview them is like get them comfortable on camera before we start rolling, and then I'll do some research, ask them questions beforehand about the business, so I know what I'm kind of walking into, at least somewhat, on the interview. But just try to make it as comfortable as possible for people. That way, when they sit down, I'm there guiding them through the conversation, asking the questions, and then, we do all the back end stuff. So it's just try to make it as easy as possible for people.
Exactly. That's part of the service. That's what
Part
they
of the
hire.
service.
That's what they hire us for, is to make it easy. So
Mhm.
yeah, so we're in the same business. So just making it
cool.
happen, and furthering this podcast journey for everybody, and making in our services, making it easier. And this great gear coming out is so, all the manufacturers are making gear towards this industry now.
Make it easier.
This is just amazing. So I'm just happy to be a part of this when it's just like really ramping up. And going to these conferences like Podfest and Podcast Movement and
Meeting people
Afro
like
and
you.
Audio, and
Yeah, if we
meeting
didn't
people
go,
like
if
you.
we didn't go, we would never meet you.
Yeah, it's a great exchange of ideas and thought processes as we move this whole industry, along. So
Yeah. Agreed. I think some of these conferences, that is the cool part, is like getting to meet you guys. Like, so when we met last year in Nashville, like I think I had found out about the conference 2 days before I decided to go. And it was like a week after I had launched this business. So I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And so, but it was cool to like meet you guys. I actually met a bunch of people. One thing that's really cool about this industry is that there's a lot of people that are just, like open to talking and helping each other and just like sharing what we're doing and how we're doing it. I don't know. I came from aviation. I'm not a pilot or anything, but that was just the industry I was in before this. Very cool industry, just very different. But it's I don't know. I've learned a lot from each of those conferences, and a lot of it comes from just talking with people and they're telling you how to do different things. And kind of the cool thing about like even this conversation, right, is it's funny how you guys are like, you guys are like legit engineers, like with music and everything. Like you guys know, I don't know, probably 1,000 times more than I do. I just have done like some online courses to get the basic sense. And like I recorded an acoustic album and there's like phase issues with it. It's like, it's good enough. But, but then like, even I know like 1,000 times more than the person just starting to get into it. But everybody's kind of making this push to make it easier versus, I don't know, like we got to keep it really difficult so nobody knows. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm glad that it's not like that.
Yeah. I think the whole community is, everybody's friendly, everybody trying to help each other. But also I think technology really evolving in helping content creators and podcasters, what have you, like just make it easier. Like having the Vocaster is making easier than just having, M audio from like 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh my God.
Sounded horrible. Man. Yeah. But that's what, I mean, that's the only 2-channel interface that you could buy, right? 10 years ago, like 12 years ago, maybe.
It was pretty bleak out there with take home interfaces like 15 years ago. It was super expensive, and it was at least $1,000 for 2 channel. It's 2,000. It was like $1,000 a channel just for an interface.
It didn't even sound as good as this.
And now this is a $300, and 300, and that's for the 2 channel. The one that you have, Chris, is like $199. 200. So $199.
Yeah.
So it's just
$100 per channel versus 1,000.
Exactly. In 15, 20 years of us doing it. So
and we don't have to be in the same room. We can go. You can be in Florida. We can be in Jersey. And I think quality is still great over IP.
Yeah. No, it is very cool. Yeah. M audio, that brought up the days when I really, really had no idea what I was doing. Right? And I would plug it in.
What you were doing.
I was doing. Well, if we even want to say I was even doing at that point, I think it came with a version of Pro Tools, which I didn't understand back then.
Pro Tools LE.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just remember looking at it like, I'm screwed. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I don't think YouTube was as big or as helpful back then.
No, not at all. Not at all. You were pretty much out there to yourself because there was no training or no like free places like that, 15 years ago like that. So
now you're on these different forums with people that have been in the industry for like 30 years and they're just telling you how stupid you are that you don't understand this.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe that you'd use anything with less than a D33 2.4 processing power. I can't believe how stupid these kids are today. It's like, I don't know what that even is.
Yeah. And again, that's the cool thing about podcasting. There's nobody that's been doing, something called podcasting for 30 years. It's been around, I think, for maybe 20 technically. But I mean, people getting on the mainstream radar, is probably only been in the past like 10 years. So,
and for so long, podcast audio is not, it's still not everybody got great audio in podcasts.
Yeah. And those are like big podcasts that I'm like, oof.
Isn't it amazing?
2022.
I'm pretty amazed on why, some of the big podcasts sound like trash. Yeah. So, but hopefully we'll reach out to those.
Yeah, we
like-
try. Yeah, we try to help everybody, whether you are independent or you're on the network.
Yeah.
Supplying these type of things like good microphone and interface, so you can sound decent on your podcast. Some people think laptop audio is enough.
Yeah.
That might be it. There's a podcaster I listen to. She's got great content, all this stuff, but yeah, I think she's based in like South America or something like that. I'm not sure. So maybe I'll do it as like a show donation, buy one of these Vocasters and just be like, hey, can I send you this? It would really help my commute a lot if I didn't have to crank my stereo to like twice the volume. I really want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly,
True.
Chris. So Chris, let our audience know like how to get in touch with you, more, contact info for your studio or anybody in Southwest Florida.
Sure. Yeah. So it's so everything is pretty much like SWFL. So that's Southwest Florida. So SWFLpodcasts.com. SWFL Podcasts on Instagram. Same thing, SWFL Podcasts on YouTube. And connect with me, Chris Cheine, on LinkedIn. And just you got any questions about literally any of this stuff, the tech we use, or just how we have the business structured, all that, happy to share, talk about it, whatever.
Oh, you know what? I do want to talk about one more quick thing. You made out pretty good at Podcast Movement. You also won a book that's a favorite of ours.
Think and
Grow Rich. How has that been treating you?
Oh, dude. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for just also, I guess, selecting me on that one. That one was a little bit more straightforward than winning a drawing. Because I was just like, yeah, I'll take it. But
that was from my mastermind panel too. That wasn't like me and Dennis. That was another. But that was some other audio producers for podcasts. But Chris ended up winning that too. So
yeah, all right. So this was a good podcast movement for winning stuff. But yeah, no, after you guys talked about the mastermind stuff, it really got me thinking in that way. And I actually started one with another person there. So that was cool.
All right.
But then going through Think and Grow Rich just from that book, I had always heard about the book, and I'm always really skeptical about these things because you hear a lot of people talk about like, I just thought it and then I got $1 million, and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? But this one is much more like action oriented. But ever since I started incorporating some of these things, really setting the targets for where I wanted to go with the business, and kind of changing the way that I think about these things being possible, or like eliminating doubts and things like that. Just in the past month since I really started incorporating some of it, it's like the path forward looks a lot more promising and
nice,
profitable. And actually, after we hop off here, I'm going to talk to somebody who's kind of like a business or a mindset coach who's like very big into it. And I'll probably start working with him for the next 6 months just to kind of get some of this ingrained, because it's really helpful stuff. I can see how it's working as I'm applying it in the short term. But that self-doubt piece, man, that's my friggin' Achilles heel. Is like, I'll be like, yeah, I just don't know if this is going to work. And then other people will be sitting next to me like, shut up. It's like, this is like a great idea. Just friggin' do it. And I'm I'm not sure. So I want to, I don't know if I'll ever eliminate that self-doubt piece, but I don't know. I want to get that under control and see how this impacts the business. I know. So actually I'm curious. So like, how have you guys incorporated that? If you can go for a couple extra minutes, I'd be really curious.
Oh, for me, it was life-changing. I've been on it since I moved here to New Jersey, like 13, well, it'll be 14 years in June. June, I moved here, and I came here, was dead broke. All the things that you don't want to go through in New York, New Jersey. But I wanted to make it happen, being an audio engineer and tour around the world and stuff. And I came across that book and I read it and I started putting those things into action, what you were saying, and changed my life. I ended up being with an 8-time Grammy Award winner, seeing the world and doing all the things that were on like my vision board and stuff. So I get what you're saying. Like, I was skeptical too. Like, you're just going to think it up. But it's like, no, when you have it in your thought processes all the time, but also putting actions behind it and then time and then just continuously doing it. Everything that I've wanted has like come to pass. So I'm always trying to get people to check out that book and like really give it a go. Cause I mean, it's, in this decade and a half almost, it's changed my life. So yeah, I'm glad to hear you doing this. So in another 10 years, I can't wait to hear.
Yeah. And I listen to audiobook. I've listened to probably maybe 10 times the same Think and Grow Rich, and I have it in my car. So whenever I drive, I just listen to a chapter. But I think it also works when you own the business, right? Mm-hmm. When you have responsibilities, when you even self-doubt. I mean, I think we all have that because we own the business. We have responsibility to pay rent, I don't know, this bill, insurance, so many things that you have to think of. And I think Think and Grow Rich helps you, navigate better because you're listening stories from like Ford and so many successful people.
And they were doubtful too. And you hear all of these other great stories from these other
Edison,
great people.
Edison didn't have Wi-Fi or Vocaster back then, but he made it happen.
Hey, he created
exactly
all of recorded audio for us. So shout out to Edison, who is also a Jersey native. So
and actually Edison and Ford, they have something called Edison Ford Estates down here in Fort Myers. So I guess they used to come down here in the winters or something like that, up in like near downtown Fort Myers. Not too far from here. So I guess that even connects us out. What is that, 100 years later?
Exactly.
No, that's interesting from just a business owner's perspective, because once I started my business, the focus shifted from being an employee of like, hey, how do I kind of like pass this off so I don't have to deal with this and maybe somebody else will, to like, I gotta figure this out. Like, how do I actually figure this out? And no, it's just it's a nice shift. So hopefully in not too long, I'll be able to say, hey, thank you very much for being the preemptive piece of making a ton of money. So we'll see. I hope I can tell you that.
Oh yeah, very soon.
We'll circle back in next podcast movement.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
You got it already. You got everything.
It's in my possession already. That's right.
Yeah. You already got it.
As long as you're thinking about it, that's all you need. So, all right. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming on. So great to have a long form conversation with you. It's always been a little quicker in those podcast movement situations. And involving some kind of party and alcohol. So this is a nice.
Oh yeah. And the last one in Dallas was everywhere we go was so loud you can't even talk to anybody. So we would leave like 45 minutes later.
Wait, you guys don't have the party and alcohol going on? I thought that's what we were doing here. What do you think's in here?
Right? Oh yeah, just a little water.
Yeah, a little pick me up.
A little pick me up, but that's about it. But
yeah, thank you guys very much for having me. I really appreciate it. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is awesome too, Chris. Thank you for coming on. And from myself, Dennis, and Chris, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
For more information of booking 23DB Productions, visit their website at 23dbproductions.com. Like and follow 23DB Productions at Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter for the latest work.